Jeff, how's it going?
Hey, Brian. How are we doing today, man?
So far, so good. I just thought we'd go live again like we've been doing over these past few weeks. Something I wanted to bring to everyone's attention and talk a little bit about because I don't think anyone's ever talked about it until we brought it up a few, some years ago was pH. And, creatine, we're known for crealkaline. I don't know how to address this, but maybe you could tell the story of where it came from, something like that. But creatine is creatine in most people's eyes, whether it's whatever form. We always talk about creatine monohydrate. But why
Right.
is pH even something to even know about or consider when it comes to creatine?
I think it's some basic science, and you got to go back quite a few years. Recall I was the one that brought creatine monohydrate to the marketplace, contrary to what anybody else says. That was me. And one of the things that I noticed early on were people were reporting a lot of side effects, water retention, bloating. Women didn't like it.
Right.
And we just kind of written it off as, well, that's just one of the side effects of creatine, and no one really knew why. As I started to get in, do more and more research, we started synthesizing, creatine here, creatine monohydrate here in Billings, Montana. The story goes, one day I was a little bored in the lab, and I started to activate all these different creatines that we were making. Creatine HP, which was, creatine and dextrose, putting regular creatine monohydrate in the fruit juice, all the things we were telling everybody to do. And what I found out was there was high amounts of creatinine, which is the bio waste we were trying to get rid of. Everybody was claiming, pure creatine. And what I went on to discover was the lower the pH, the quicker that conversion from creatine to creatinine happened. And as I elevated the pH, that conversion actually stopped. Now, pH is a scale how you measure acidity versus alkalinity, with 7 being neutral. Right. So we were telling everybody, put in the fruit juice. Phone ringing here. I'm in the lab office.
That's what happens when you go live, right?
Oh, boy, you know it, man. So we were telling everybody, put it in the fruit juice. We're lowering the pH. We were making all these fruit-flavored, creatine monohydrate drinks. We were lowering the pH, and all we were doing was increasing the rate of conversion. Again, we found out that instantaneously, as soon as you put creatine monohydrate, and I don't care if it's HCl, you name it, in the solution, it starts to convert to creatinine. So again, that's what led to the patent crealkaline. We were able to elevate the pH during the manufacturing synthesis, eliminating that conversion when it hits solution to creatinine. And like I said, creatinine is a bile waste. It's what caused all the side effects. It's what causes, headaches, diarrhea, dehydration, hence all the things. Drink lots of water so you don't cramp from creatine. It all comes from creatinine.
Yeah, and like I said, the reason why I even want to bring up the whole pH thing is I think it's something people have enough of a familiarity with from grade school or chemistry class,
Right.
high school, whatever. But it's kind of like it's overlooked to the point that, like, say, buying gas, there's 87 octane, 89, 91. You kind of just know, oh, that's premium. We don't really know what those numbers actually are other than what they
Right.
represent. And so like pH, that scale, as you move from 1 to 14, 7, like you said, is neutral. Every time you move, that's a factor of 10. So when we say, something was pH 6 and it goes to 4, it's not two numbers. That actually means it's 100 times more acidic. So as you move down that scale, we
Right.
talk about crealkaline being 12, somewhere in that range. And they were talking about the HCl guys down there in the way down in the threes and the fours. That's thousands upon thousand times more acidity. And we're saying acid is the enemy to creatine.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and since we were able to, again, at first we were the only ones talking about this. Pretty soon the Merck was updated and said the same thing we did.
What's the Merck, by the way? What's the Merck? In fact, I'll get one while we're talking.
The Merck index, that's kind of the Bible, so to say, of the chemical industry. I mean, every compound is in there. It gives you how to make it, how to test with it. I mean, it gives you all the makeup of it. So the Merck, was then updated talking about creatine is not stable. The couple years after I brought creatine to the market, Germany started manufacturing their brand of creatine, And if you recall in the beginning, they were trying to say everything was stable.
Right.
As years progressed, they finally agreed because they knew I was right. Nobody wanted to agree that, creatine was not stable in solution. So again, as you said, anything acidic, fruit juices, things you use in flavor systems lowers that pH down, and that speeds up that conversion. I wrote a book several years ago called The Dangers of Creatinine, because it's such an important topic. As a matter of fact, when you go in for a physical, they're going to check your creatinine levels, because that's a normal part of the process of burning creatine. The exhaust, the gas, so to say, is creatinine, and it's all excreted through the kidney. So, you get too much creatinine and you're going to have kidney issues.
Right. And I remember, I'm actually looking at it right here in this, what we said is the Bible that chemists have on there. When we started talking about this stuff, I remember there was a few people who were gurus in this industry saying the Merck was wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And give me a break. I mean, but
here it is.
But
it says in an aqueous solution, creatinine is formed. Aqueous, it says it right there. There it is.
Well, and you remember all the, people like to give their opinion, and back then that was before really the internet was popular, so people had to do it in magazines or at trade shows. And I remember one guy that we ended up suing because he falsified research, said creatinine was good for you, and he was going to come out with a creatinine product, and all I could do was laugh and go, dude.
Yeah, he said that to me. We were in Anaheim, and he actually started almost yelling at me like I did something. I'm just like, hey, I'm just here representing. I don't know that part. He was telling me we should be ashamed of ourselves.
And I did an experiment where I took mice and I basically converted creatine all the way to creatinine. I fed it to mice, and they looked like they were drunk. They were lethargic. They were hitting the walls, rolling on their bellies. And again, all these people using creatine before a workout, if you are ingesting creatinine, that's why you're tired, your workouts are crappy. Now, the way they compensate is they throw a bunch of caffeine in there, so you think it's really working, but it's not. You're drinking creatinine, which again is going to cause you all that water retention, bloating. And you remember when we first came out with Creatine, what did we say? No loading, no bloating, no side effects.
Yeah.
Because we found you did need to load. There were no side effects, and you did not bloat. And, to this day, I mean, I think, Creatine is favored by female athletes because they don't bloat like regular, creatine monohydrate. And, the HCLs and all these other forms have come and gone. They do nothing more than take creatine monohydrate and let's just say cut it. You're talking about gas, 85% octane, and they cut it down to 30 or 40%. Because they claim it'll go into solution better. Well, a little heads up, a little bit of laboratory science. Anytime you lower the pH, things become more water soluble because you're basically degrading. That's nothing more than a little food science. So that's not rocket science, but that doesn't have anything to do with absorption or stability.
Right, because we always talk about the stability of the creatine, whereas everyone else switched over and said, oh, no, the single most important factor is how well it goes into a solution, which is kind of like, if you stop and think about it, it looks like it makes sense, but I don't know why does that even matter, honestly?
It doesn't. There's no science there. It doesn't make any sense. I guess if you wanted to put, 50 grams of creatine HCl in a glass and you wanted to see it dissolve, then there you go, maybe a little seventh grade science project. But other than that, it makes no difference. The stability is what counts. Getting, having no extra creatinine that you're taking in. I mean, that's what you don't want to do. It's what you want to limit.
So let's cut to the chase. I mean, this all is great. We're talking science and that sort of thing. But if I'm an athlete, or someone who's getting into fitness, or I'm going on a diet, whatever, competitive bodybuilder, what does this mean to them?
Well, it's like talking protein. Guys know that if you're a competitor and you want the quickest absorbing and the best, it's whey isolate. You want other protein, that's great. They're there, they have a purpose. But when you're talking about creatine, you want the best. And again, I'm not saying this because I developed it, close to 20 years ago. I'm saying in the last 20 years, there's nothing better. We continue to research creatine. And if there was a better way to do it, I would have patented and came out with it. But to this day, you want the best. You want something that's going to be completely stable and is not going to convert to creatinine before you drink it. I mean, that's just
I think we've told people at the end of the day, you're getting all the benefits of creatine that you've heard about if you've run any of the research without so you get all the upside without the downside or the negative. And does it cost a little more? I mean, maybe, but at the end of the day, I want the result. And I'm going to buy premium fuel for my car, not the cheap junk.
But not per serving. I mean, the people who still, think creatine monohydrate is the best, they're probably the same ones that are still using flip phones. I don't know about you. I got iPhone 12 or whatever it is, because technology goes, and, the latest and greatest technology is still Crealkaline. Once you have fixed something, there is no better way. There's no other way of doing it. So again, if you want to take in 20, 30 grams of creatine, it's not more cost effective. Are you going to hold water? Yes. And that's why people say, oh, I used creatine one time. What kind of creatine? Oh, creatine monohydrate. And I gained, 20 pounds in 3 weeks. But when I went off, I lost all the weight. No, you gained water and you lost water. You didn't gain any muscle. That's what you're after. If you're looking to use it for muscle building, or if you're looking for endurance, stamina, recuperation, recovery, I mean, again, all the things that you want, get rid of the side effects, That's the difference between what we do in our industry and a drug. I always say a pharmaceutical has to have a minimum of 100 side effects, in order for it to be a drug, where we went the opposite. We developed something that was side effect free. And in all the clinical studies we've done more than any single company that I know of. And all the years of the millions and maybe billions of caps that have been sold. And, again, I don't know how many metric tons of Crealkaline we've sold to other manufacturers and other brands. Still, no one has come back and said, oh, you're wrong. I bloated. Oh, I don't have to load. Oh, I have side effects. I had one for the first time the other day. Somebody said he took Crealkaline and he got a headache. And I said, well, what did you do it with? Oh, well, I was using James Brown's pre-workout. Oh, you didn't get the headache from Crealkaline. You got the headache from that pre-workout.
Yeah, we do hear that every now and then. Once you do a little research, you find out, oh, wait, they're taking 7 other things that are probably given all the negatives that we're sitting here going over. Anyway, I don't want to beat a dead horse. I mean, I think we've covered what we needed to. And at the end of the day, and I've said this, and I'll say it again publicly, for whatever reason you choose not to use Crealkaline, just get creatine monohydrate if that's going to be what you're going to use. All the other stuff, the fancy stuff, you're going to way overpay for it. Again, but Crealkaline is creatine monohydrate. It's the perfected form of it.
Now, keep this also in mind. There is a creatine monohydrate shortage. I know people don't want to hear this, but all of the creatine monohydrate that is sold in the USA is made in China. It comes from China. If you're using Creapure, that's German, but I found half the time they're buying Chinese to fill in. I'm sorry, that's the truth. I've seen it. But they all have a shortage, so you're not going to find any. Crealkaline is made here in Billings, Montana. We got plenty. The only thing we've had a little struggle with is getting in lids, in bottles because of the whole resin shortage. So you may get a bottle that has a white lid or a black lid, or maybe the official stamp, EFX blue lids. But we got plenty of Crealkaline. We are making it around the clock. So again, if I were an athlete, I wouldn't want to be using something I couldn't get and have to switch to some Amazon no-name brand. And as we said, you're going to see more and more cheating because brands can't get it and they're going to be cutting. And I think half the time you're not even going to get creatine. You're going to get some sugar or maltodextrin or some garbage.
Yeah.
So be aware.
Yeah, you're right. And like anything, premium gas, whatever, you're going to pay a little more and it's worth it. So don't try to be cheapskate. It's your body. It's your results. You're the one doing the workout. I would want the best of the best of the best when it comes to getting the results the fastest.
Yep. And there's still some sample packs left. So if you want to try it, go to actually EFX Sports is now sold on allamericansups.com. And there's a free test drive kit. while they last, you know, you can go and not only can you try the Crealkaline, but you can try Carbolin and some of the other EFX sports products absolutely free. You just cover the shipping. I mean, come on.
Yeah, $7.99, but it's worth way more than that with what you end up getting in that nice pack when it shows up at your house. So
there you go. That's how you can try it for free.
Cool. Well, it looks like you're probably in the lab there, from what I can tell.
I'm
got all the scrubs and all the good stuff.
Man. Yeah, I got some new stuff I'm working on, some fancy stuff. So you did catch me in the lab, and I need to get back at it, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's go ahead and we'll end this now. But that was good information. Thanks for